Good day, everyone. Welcome. I hope you are doing wonderfully today. And if not, that's okay too. You're here. You pressed play. You're halfway there. We'll be moving through some lovely therapeutic things today for mostly the hips, but of course the mind as well. And I know you know this, or maybe you don't, but every single class that we go through will target specific meridians, will target specific energy centers in the body or the chakras, will target the nervous system to help your body regulate, the lymphatic system, the endocrine system, both of which support the immune systems of the body. So if you ever find that you get stressed out or reaching for all of these things, oh, I need to balance my chakras. Oh, I need to open up this or that, or like whatever it is, that's why we have so much variety here in these classes, because we meet the marks every single time. Yes, some classes are more focused, let's say, towards meditation and tapping into the upper energy centers or the upper chakras, right? Especially when we do our Kundalini practices in combination with inversions, or Kundalini in combination with Yoga Nidra. The whole point is that we are doing all of those things all the time. So if you are coming here to this beautiful group that we have together and pressing play and doing a new class every day, even if you're staying in the same style of practice, you're still hitting all those marks inside. So just know that you can really pick anything, or you could even pick one of the classes that is, all the right places. There's even a class called that, but it's like that does the full body, everything. And you could repeat that as much as you want. And I know you all know this. It's just, I know sometimes it can be kind of stressful when there's so much information out there, and it can feel like we're supposed to be able to effectively, consciously heal every molecule of our body. And, yeah, that's like part of our journey, but we're not going to become conscious of all of it. So just rest in what is here and now, because that's all that really honestly matters. That's really all that is true in so many essences of that word. The present moment is the space where we meet ourselves, and then it's gone and a new one arrives. Going back to the term kalapis, right? Arriving and departing in every moment. It's happening whether we are conscious of it or not. But the opportunity to meet ourselves in a moment and recognize who we are, whatever that means to you, right? That's our opportunity. That's the yoga. The postures, they are the vehicle for self-reflection. I mean, if we are friends or interact outside of our interactions here, I mean, and you probably already can figure it out just from these classes, and the energy that comes is like, so much of life is just being where you are. It's as simple as that. It's being where you are and noticing your emotional response, right? Noticing your emotional response to your environment, but also like your response to yourself and to the environment. This time that we share together is so much more than just moving the body. And moving the body, as I mentioned, it's the way in, it's the doorway. It helps us to open up our perception because we become more open to self-reflection. And yoga is the inward journey, the journey to the self through the self, or the journey through the self to the self. Yeah. So it might seem superficial on the outside. Oh, we're just in bridge pose. Yep, you are. And when you start to observe the layers that are present in the moment and become conscious of the layers of experience, it's much more than bridge pose. It's a bridge to the outer world of knowing the collective consciousness, the quantum field of possibility, the connection that all humans have. It's opening that funnel of wisdom and being able to bring it in, integrate, and set off creation into the world through our hands, through our voices, through actions, right? Every time we stop and just take a moment to be, we offer ourselves the wisdom of the space between. And the wisdom of the space between is often the wisdom that goes unseen or is cast aside as something irrelevant to the majority of the world. However, it is cast aside not because it is untrue, but because it is so true that people want to hide from the knowing. Isn't that wild? Right? It's like a willful ignorance to the majesty that is within. And that's your choice. That's our choice, right? I choose to see the majesty within because that is what I feel as true and human for me. So I stick with that knowing that comes from inside. And it's not the knowing that needs to be analyzed. This is not a place where the ego participates, but a space where we allow our heart to be open and we are able to receive the wisdom and know it, right? Gnosis. We just know. You don't need to think about it. It's a whole different level of being. Let's just say that. It's a whole other level of observing and being in or being witness to the world that surrounds. You know, I didn't plan on talking about that, but it came up and well, I went for it. And it all kind of works in with the piece I was going to read today, which is very short. And this is from the book Embers by Richard Wagamese. And this is just a little passage here. So it's a conversation between me, or the writer, but we'll say me, and an old man. Okay, me. Can I fail at spirituality? Old man. No, you were always spiritual. Me. How do I get better at it? Old man. By remembering that deciding is not doing and wanting is not choosing. Me. I don't get it. Old man. Move in the direction that brings you closer to Creator in all things. The trail will be revealed and the helpers will come to you. Me. That's it? Old man. It's more than enough for one lifetime. Perfect way to send ourselves into our movement journey. So perhaps utilizing some of that to reflect throughout your practice. And perhaps that reflection can simply be the breath. So we'll start in a child's pose. Bring your hips to your heels, legs are together, hands are stacked. You could even make fists with your hands to rest your head with a bit of height. And breathe in and out here. Notice any spaces and places that might be hanging on to tension. Notice your thoughts and how you're talking to yourself. And let's reach the arms forward. And on a breath in, grip your hands into the mat and pull your hips away from your heels. And start to just draw circles with your hips. So your legs are still together. They don't need to be glued right together, but they're not far apart. So just draw circles with your hips. Stay going in the same direction for 5 complete circles. And after your 5th one, go the other way. Just checking in with the mobility of your hips, but also the integrity and strength through your upper body and your core. Because this movement can feel really smooth and enjoyable, or it can feel really difficult and awkward. And the difference is how much you're allowing your entire body to work together, or whether you're just isolating. Okay, so we want everything working together. After your 5th round, come back to child's pose. Maybe your forehead can come fully down to the ground, but of course, if that's too much, stack the hands. Breathe in and out here. And we'll inhale, come back up to table. Exhale to tuck your toes and find a downward dog. So walk the feet in to make it an easier downward dog. Feet are about hip distance apart at this point. Let your knees bend as you lift through your heels and push your belly to your thighs. Slide your heart to your shins. Push into your big toes as your hips lift up, and then flex your quadriceps to draw the heels closer down and your hips to the wall behind you. Feel that lovely lengthening sensation through the lower back, and feel the navel draw up and in. Again, we want the whole body working together. You're not just dumping all the weight into your palms. Feel the lift of your hips and slide them to the wall behind. And take your time, nice and easy. Lower the knees down, tabletop pose. Untuck your toes, keep the knees hip distance. Child's pose. Walk your hands forward or stack the hands under the head. Breathe in and out here. Fabulous. Inhale yourself to table. Reach for your blocks and just place them on their second highest setting underneath your shoulders, so you can bring your hands onto your blocks. So your fingers can just kind of wrap around the edges. I like to have my index and middle finger pointing forward. Some days I like to have all 3 of my middle fingers pointing forward. So just see what works for you here. Feel comfortable and make sure you can straighten your arms. And then walk your knees back a little bit, so we're in a longer table pose. So the knees are just a little behind the hips, but you can still feel like you still feel controlled here. So it's not a huge difference, just enough. And draw 3 circles with the hips in one direction. And then 3 the other way. Beautiful. Come into center. Open your chest as you slide the chest forward. Pull your elbows back, lower chest halfway down and push up. And then push your hips to the heels, child's pose. Hands stay on the blocks. Inhale, come back forward. Exhale, pull elbows back, chest down, nice and deep. Maybe you can lower a bit more and then push up and back, child's pose. Hands stay on blocks. Inhale, come forward. Slide shoulders or elbows back, chest down, and then we push up and back. We're doing 2 more like that. So smooth out the movement. Remember to breathe. Inhale, come forward, heart forward, exhale, lower, push up and push back. Let your forehead come down. Relax your hands back to your heels. Breathe in and breathe out. Beautiful. Hands back onto the blocks, shifting into your table. Breathe in, slide chest forward, lower halfway. Breathe out, and you're pushing yourself up now. As you come back to table, drag your blocks. So notice I didn't go fully up to a tall spine. Drag your blocks back. You might want to put them up a little higher and then lift your hips forward or send your hips forward in camel pose. Then lower your hips to your heels. Inhale, lift the hips away from the heels. You got it. Exhale, bring the hips down. Inhale, hips up. Stay up. Drag your blocks forward. Place them back down. Hands on the blocks. Medium height setting, chest forward and down. And push up. And child's pose. Okay, so we'll try that again. Inhale, come up, table, chest slides forward, elbows bend, chest lowers. You got it. Push up, drag the blocks back. You can change the height. Send your hips forward. Ustrasana, camel pose. Pull the hips back and down. 2 more times, hips up and down and up. Hold, carry your weight forward, shift the blocks, hands on the blocks, chest forward, lower halfway, push up, child's pose. Hands can come to the heels, forehead to the mat. Breathe in and out. Inhale, come forward, table, but we'll set the blocks aside. And come into your longer table. So knees are behind the hips. Slide chest forward and down. We have our supported chaturanga. Push up. Slide the hips back, slide your fingers back, open the chest and come into camel from here. So you can just let the fingers relax and open the heart. You could bring your hands to your low back. You could bring your hands to your heels and the hips work forward. And we come all the way up, breath in. This time on breath out, come to child's pose. Inhale, table. Make it a long table. Exhale, lower. Chaturanga with support. Push up. Start to shift your weight back, slide back through your hands, open your heart, camel pose. Find your variation. Hips slide forward, you're so strong. And release. Hips pull back, child's pose. One more, inhale, long table. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, push up. Exhale, start to shift your body up and land in your camel pose. 3 breaths here this time. And nice and easy, come all the way up and lower your hips to your heels, sitting onto your shins. Pausing here for a breath in and out. Check in with your heart rate. And nice and easy, we'll release so that we can slide the legs out in front. And choices, right? We need to be able to have sit bones flat down, tall spine. That might mean you have your knees bent. So please bend the knees as needed. Full breath in. As you breathe out, walk the hands down the legs, bringing your belly closer to your thighs. Continue to look toward your feet and think about your heart moving to the space between your big toes. And all 10 toes are facing up to the ceiling. Inhale, exhale. Each inhale draws your chest a little further forward. We're using strength and integrity. Each exhale, you feel your navel draw in and your belly get a little closer to your thighs. So working all those teeny tiny spaces. You could look down at the space between your calves. Feel your shoulders draw away from the ears. And nice and easy, bring yourself all the way up. Heels draw in toward the perineum as the soles of the feet come together and the knees open wide. Now we are staying relatively active here, so you could bring your hands toward your ankles or your feet. Your thumbs could be even toward the balls of the feet and help your feet open up like a book. So don't close the feet together, let them open. And notice that opening will start to draw the outer legs down. Keep the legs down as best as you can using the strength of your legs, not the strength of your arms and hands. Okay, so you can keep the hands on the feet, inch your heart forward and up so your spine feels long, and feel your elbows pull back. Your chest feels open and your collarbones are broad. You're still opening your feet like a book with your thumbs. Your chest can slide further forward and you can start to hinge just a little bit forward. So we're not going into a deep fold. We need to maintain that the legs stay down, right? So that puts pressure in through the pinky toe side of the feet, and it puts awareness in the outer legs. Now you could reach your elbows forward and down on the ground, but only if it's available with ease. If it's not, don't bother. Breathe in, breathe out. Keep the outer thighs pressing down. Couple more cycles of breath here. And your breath is just nice and easy in and out of the nose. Likely you've noticed you haven't really needed to think about your breathing because we've been clearing the spaces in such a mindful way that you don't need to, because your body already knows what to do without you thinking about it. Right? That's part of our process here through our yoga practice and, of course, through our journey of life. Take your time and start to walk yourself up. Close the legs together using the hands. Maybe give the legs a little shake. So we'll bring a little bit of our somatic practice into this, and we'll get into the hips a little bit more. So we want our knees opened out to the sides, but the degree to which they're open, that depends on how your body feels today. It'll be different. So the soles of the feet are kind of toward each other, but maybe not fully. So find the spot that works for you. The hands reach forward, and we're just giving ourselves a little bounce forward and back. And we will keep doing this. So again, you can play with the openness and closeness of the legs and just find your sweet spot, and you can change it. But we'll just keep finding this little bounce, this tiny rocking action. Notice I'm not going all the way back down. It's just enough to keep you here and keep your body moving. So close your eyes. Notice the space in the sacral area that's being stimulated here by this movement. Notice the awareness deep in your core, even in your pelvic floor. Notice all the spaces being activated here. And keep it gentle. When we do this, we're not trying to force stuff into our body or be really hard on ourselves. So take breaks as you need. We want to build a little heat, but nice and easy. Nice, easy breath in and out. And we'll come up, bring the soles of the feet down, relax over your thighs. Let your head get heavy. And then sit up, bring the soles of your feet together again with the knees open wide. Elbows could press into the outer thighs, or you could use your hands on your knees. Chest draws forward. If available, your elbows could come down again. You could also have your hands on your ankles or your feet. We won't be here too long, but long enough so that we can make a good effort at getting some of the gunk out of the hip sockets and the low back and the sacral area, the SI joints, the groin, all that good stuff. And nice and easy, walk yourself up, close the legs together, give them a little shake. Once again, soles of feet together-ish. You're gonna open your legs to your edge, whatever feels best for you, and start that rocking again. So depending on where your knees are, you might feel it in a different area in the sacral bone, or even in the coccyx tailbone area. So be kind to yourself. We're not trying to hurt ourselves here. This is something that overall we're aiming to feel relatively easy. You can be pretty lazy and do this, right? And that's kind of what we're going for. But also see what's happening on the inside of the body. So feel what's happening in the abdomen. Can you close your eyes? And notice the little spaces waking up here. The stabilizers in the abdomen take a while to wake up, but you're probably feeling them now. So notice, I know for myself, there's certain areas that are difficult to connect to, right? And I've been doing this a really long time. It's a process. This is like the long game. And I know that most of you know that, right? That's why you're here. You don't see any people running a short race in this group or training with me in general, because I'm not that kind of yogi. I'm not here for the short sprint. I'm here for the long haul. Keep going. It's a process. We wave in and out and through. Things shift like they always do, right? And we learn to adapt. We learn to shift, and we learn to deeply connect with ourselves so that we have a strong foundation of knowing. And nice and easy, come all the way forward, relax over your legs. Soles of feet are on the mat. Scoot your hips forward and lay down on your back. Knees pull toward the chest, but very loose. Hands are on the knees. Your big toes touch, and just draw little circles with your knees. So as you start drawing those little circles, bring your inner attention away from the movement of your knees and toward the movement that's happening in the back of your hips. So what's happening there? How can you smooth out these circular motions a little more? Go the other way. Smooth out the circle. It's not about how big the circle goes, it's about how smooth can your circle be. Beautiful. Now keep going in the same direction, but cross your right ankle over your left. Keep drawing knee circles. Just keep going. Sometimes doing this stuff, you might get little crunches and cracks and adjustments. And sometimes it might seem like, oh my gosh, like my body's just gonna constantly make these same sounds and adjustments. But then when you do the movement long enough, it will clear. But the trick is you need to go beyond that space where you become impatient with yourself and with your body. And instead, just stay with the movement, stay with yourself, and watch as your body releases. That's like one of the really fun parts about yoga, and really I think about life, is like right when we want to give up, right when we think we're at the end of it all, or that it's not going to work out, right? Something else does. Or right when we're about to give up on practicing a headstand or a handstand, you just magically float up into it. Reverse the direction of your circles. Keep the right ankle crossed over the left. So it's not to say that we can't ever give up on things, but it is to suggest that often just before we really give up, we get some sort of reward, especially if it's something that we're really meant to be doing in our lives. We will get little hints along the way to keep us going on that path. Keep your knees moving in the same direction, but now switch your left ankle to cross over the right. Keep the circles going. If anything, your circles are just getting better and better. Maybe they get bigger, that doesn't really matter. but you notice the smoothness of the action. And reverse, the knees go the other way once again. Notice any last little bits of crunch that need to release today. Notice any changes in your breathing. And we'll come all the way to stillness, uncross the ankles, let the soles of the feet come down. So now from here, just open the arms out in a cactus position. You could have them in a T position as well if that's comfortable for you. And shoulder blades are flat, neck is long, so just inch your neck away a little bit, or your head away from your shoulders, I should say. And we'll cross the right thigh over the left. Now let your knees start to slowly drop over to the right. So you'll start to feel a pull around your left hip. Come back to center. Maybe a tiny rock to the left, and then go back to the right. Enjoy a lovely opening and soften back to center. Maybe a tiny little hinge to the left, and we go back to the right. So continue with this action of giving yourself a nice big stretch and then a little release as you move in the opposite direction. Keep both of your shoulder blades flat on the ground as you go through this. So if a shoulder blade starts to lift, you're going a little too far, or you need to put some extra effort into keeping your shoulder down. Nice little trick of the trade. If your knees are lowering to the right, press your right arm into the ground to get your left shoulder heavier. If your knees are lowering to the left, press your left arm down a bit more to get the right shoulder heavier. Okay, and just play in those spaces. You're still going side to side, and likely at this point, you're noticing that your body is opening up deeper and deeper. You just keep going, because you know there's no need to force. Your body just starts to allow more space to open. But you'll notice as soon as you feel like you're forcing something, your body won't give it to you. And there's a reason for that. Nice, easy movements. The next time you come over to the right, we'll just pause there this time. Feel all that wonderful opening around the outer left hip. Hip flexors. You might even feel this in the quadricep. Let's come back to center. And knees pull in a little deeper to your chest, and then lower over and down to the left. Shoulders both are flat, so you go to your edge in your twist. Breathe. And come back to center. Uncross the legs. Adjust hips and shoulders as needed. And we'll bring our left thigh to cross over the right. Then we start with the knees dropping to the left, and remember, just go nice and easy. We took like 5 minutes to open the other side. Come back to center and let the knees drop right. Remember, shoulder blades stay flat. And just keep going now side to side. So you know what you're doing. Just be mindful of the tendency to try to rush through and get really deep right away. But instead, just give yourself the same patience that you did on the other side, if not better. Notice all the little spaces across the back of your hips, across your sacrum, that make contact with the mat as you shift side to side. Your breath is nice and easy. Keep going side to side. Remember, you can push into the arm to open your chest. So if the knees are to the left, left arm pushes down to keep right shoulder heavy, and vice versa. If your head wants to naturally move along for the ride, of course, you can do that as well. And no rush. But the next time your knees come over to the left, just let yourself hang out there. Let everything just stretch. Notice all the space around your low back, your outer right hip, hip flexors, wherever you're feeling it, just notice. Breathe. And come all the way back to center. You can shift your knees into your chest a little more and then lower them over and down to the right. And we pause here. Again, remember, shoulder blades are flat. So just go to the space where your body feels happy. You can gently press your right arm into the ground to help keep your chest open, but work the softening as well. Try not to be too rigid here. And take your time. Come all the way back to center. Uncross through your legs. Hips are neutral, shoulder blades are flat. Breath in and out. Right ankle comes across the left thigh, figure 4 position, and just rock side to side.
So your left foot's on the ground and the left knee just rocks side to side. And you can start to rock a little bigger. You'll find your edge of movement, but you might get to the place where you're having the sole of the right foot touch the mat, and then the top of the right knee touch the mat as the left knee wavers side to side. Just a few more rounds like this. Another great way to work any gunky stuff out of the sacral area, out of the SI joints. And come all the way back to center. Left knee pulls into chest, hands grab behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Breathing in and out here. And release. Left foot comes down, right foot comes down. Left foot comes across right thigh, and we start to rock side to side. And again, just nice and easy. The movements do not need to be big. They might get bigger, but we don't need to force it. So just find that lovely waver side to side. You could pause at any moment if the stretch feels really good for the body and you want to pause, do it. Couple more rounds. Find the depth that works for you on this side. Eventually coming back to center and bringing the right knee in toward the chest, and the hands can reach behind the thigh or in front of the shin. We hang out here. Notice differences between the sides. Breathe into your lower back if you can. And release. Undo through the legs. Lengthen down, one leg at a time. Arms relax wherever is comfortable. Close the eyes. And just scan through your body. Soften any spaces that still need it. Ease the tension out of your forehead. Feel your body just let go here. Relax your fingers, relax your toes. And breathe all the way in. Start to enjoy a stretch and reach through the body. And release. Let's drag the heels in, the knees into the chest for a hug. Rock side to side. Then roll yourself up into a seat, whatever feels comfortable for you. Let's bring palms to Anjali Mudra in front of the heart. Being here now. Notice all the space you've created for yourself in your body and in your mind. Let's enjoy a full breath in of loving gratitude into ourselves and a full breath out of loving gratitude for everyone else. And thank you for our practice today. Namaste. And I hope you feel nice and stretched out and released, but also energized. Isn't it great that you can do something like that and still have energy afterwards? Well, I hope you feel great, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Much love, everyone. Bye.